Thad, you're through 2 months on the job, and the biggest question that people are asking heading into your first year back at Butler is what percent of the Thad Matta that we saw at Ohio State are we getting now at Butler? So Thad, what percent are we getting of you?
I would say 100%. I don't know. Yeah, 100% for sure. I don't think, without a doubt, I would have never have done this job unless I was 100% in. And it's funny because it's somewhat revigorating in terms of being back and, grinding away every day. I'm enjoying what I'm doing and love the group of guys we've got and just got them back in town. They were gone for a couple of weeks for break and, exciting times, no question about that.
Why was the time right for you to return to the sidelines?
I don't know if the time was right. I think the situation was right, to be quite honest. This place has always meant something to me. I don't think I would be where I am in life without Butler University being part of my life. And, for some reason, this just, it felt right to get back in and go back and try to build Butler basketball back up.
So you step into this program that you played for, program that you've coached for, and it's a different day for Butler basketball in that this is the Big East version of this program. As you enter this league, Thad, what sticks out the most?
Well, it's definitely a different day. It's definitely a different job than when I played here and when I coached here previously. I think that, the fact that Butler's in the Big East is a real credit to how this program has grown over the time I've been gone. I've said this before. I think the Big East is one of the best basketball conferences in the country, hands down. And you look at the coaches in this league, you look at the players in this league, you look at the institutions and just the venues that we play in and how difficult it is. There's no question it's a great challenge, and it's something that we've got a lot of work ahead of us. But I love the fact that we're going out, we're selling the Big East Conference and just what that represents in the country.
What's been the biggest priority or two in these first couple of months to be able to make it impactful so that when you step on the court in November, the things that you're doing now can translate?
Well, the biggest thing or the biggest two things would be like the biggest 200 things, just in terms of, anytime you take over a new program, there's a lot of work. I think the omnipotent thing to me was trying to complete our roster and get a feel for who's going to be on our team next year. And relatively speaking, we got this job a little bit late, and I was very pleased with what we were able to go out and add to our roster. I think that, the fact, and I've said this, I don't know in the last 5 years if there's been a coaching change in college basketball and all the players that were on the roster stayed. We had 8 guys stay in the program. Nobody transferred. And I think that says a lot about Butler basketball, Butler University. But we knew we needed to go out and add some key components to our roster. And we were able to do that. I think, along those lines of completing the roster, really just trying to get a feel for what we have and starting our summer workouts, just trying to get a feel for our players and what they're capable of doing. And, from there we can build our system.
2 of those players that are back are in the backcourt, and they combined for 56 points in a Big East tournament win over Xavier. I'm talking about Chuck Harris and Simas Lukosius. What do you see in that duo?
Well, I think this. I think they're 2 really, really good basketball players, and probably most importantly, I've learned about these 2 is they want to be great basketball players. Both of them have a high ceiling, a high work capacity, and are very dedicated to getting better. Both guys have a hunger, a thirst for learning the game. They want to look at film. They want to watch and understand my terminology and what we're going to try to do, those types of things. And I've always done well with guys that have a desire to be great players.
Looking at who you've brought in, you acquired size, an NC State transfer in Manny Bates, an Akron transfer in Ali. And I know that for you, Thad, defense is important. And Eric Hunter Jr. was as good of a defender in the Big Ten as one could find, top defensive player in that conference. When you think about your philosophy, how do these transfer additions fit in?
Well, without a doubt, and Jalen Thomas is another guy from Georgia State that adds great size and athleticism, and I think at all the four guys you mentioned, we also added Connor Turnbull, who had signed with Butler. We kind of re-recruited him. He won't be here until the end of the month, but I think just from the standpoint of those guys, like you said, they add size, they add length, they add athleticism. And I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned in my coaching career is size is very effective on the defensive end, but also, guys that can move. And I think with all those guys, we added great additions to the program. I think, as you said, with Eric, he is a long, lanky, he's got good size for a point guard, and he's a tough kid. So I think that's a great base for us to move forward.
You've got camp going on right now, and that's its own source of energy with over 300 kids inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. And you've spent some time at Hinkle in recent years, whether it be stopping by or just checking things out. That being said, was there that type of moment in week 1 or 2 on the job, or even now, where you do walk back into Hinkle and say, well, things have come full circle in my life. I'm the head coach of Butler.
It's funny you asked that question. And I was telling somebody this the other day, I've yet to have that euphoric moment of man, I'm back at Butler. Things have been going so fast, and it just seems like there's so much going on that I just haven't had that moment of just to take a deep breath and say, here I am. It's been short, quick breaths for the last 2 months. And I don't know when it's going to come, hopefully sooner than later, but I am looking forward to that moment.
What do you feel like you still want to achieve as a coach?
For me personally, I want to rebuild Butler basketball, and make us a contender. I think, from the standpoint of I've had the opportunity to go to Final Fours. I've had teams that probably should have gone that got upset along the way. My goal here at Butler is to put a great product on the floor, put a great product in the classroom, put a great product in the community. And I think when you do that, all the things take care of themselves. I want a group of guys that are going to represent. Now, obviously, we want to win as many basketball games as we possibly can. That's what this job is all about. I understand that, but by the same token, getting the type of kids in here that and I think that's something that I love about Butler. You asked me what brought me back. I love what this place does for student athletes, not only student athletes, but students. I got 2 daughters, one graduated from here, one is going to be a senior. And I just see what this university does for people. This is not a factory. This is not where we use players to whatever to help the university make money or whatever. This place develops kids, and that's what I look forward to. And as we build this program, is getting the type of kids in here that when they leave here, they're going to be better people.
Some news on your staff, and it's good news for David Ragland, who is one of the top assistant coaches in the Big East. He takes the head coaching job at Evansville. So what can you tell us about your staff?
Well, I love the staff that I put together. Obviously Kevin Kuick was with me at Ohio State back in the day, and I've known Kevin forever. Mike Pegues came from Louisville. I love the fact that he had been, a head coach, interim head coach this year, and he's been in the Big East. Maurice Joseph, who we just added, replaced Dave. Once again, he'd been a head coach. I recruited Maurice out of high school. He's a high octane type of guy. I really like that. From Greg Oden, John Diebler, two guys that I coached that are young, hungry. Both got, Greg was the number 1 draft pick. John was number 48 in the draft, and both guys went on and had, pretty good careers and playing days. Now they want to get into coaching. And then Andrew Lentz, a guy that we added, also came from Louisville, but he's been all around. Very, very intelligent guy that can run the day-to-day operations of what we're trying to do to make our jobs easier.
Thad, what is possible at Butler?
Well, I've got a saying on my desk at home: nothing is impossible. And I really, really believe that. I think that, the one thing I've learned in coaching in all the years I've done this, I've got this saying: I just want to be better today than we were yesterday. And, from there, see what happens. The goal is to challenge for a Big East title. And I've always said this: I think the hardest thing to do in college basketball is win your conference outright. The 20 games now, the 10 at home, 10 away, so much goes into it of scheduling, travel, all that stuff. But that's the challenge, I think, is to contend for Big East championships.
Do you smirk at all at the fact that you walk into the room, that you're back and you're one of a couple new Big East coaches, and Jay Wright is not in the room?
Yeah. Well, I'm happy for Jay.
Yes.
I'm glad he's not in the Big East anymore. but I think from the standpoint, I've always been a guy that has great respect for coaches, because I think that this profession is so hard. And now that I look at myself as a veteran coach and a guy that's done this for a while, I want to help young guys move this profession along. It's a different job than it was when I started. There's no question about that. The college game has changed, but I think from the standpoint of I've always respected the coaches that I've coached against, and there's no question that there's some unbelievable coaches in this league now, and as there always has been. But we were just in Florida for the Big East meetings, and everybody was happy, and I kind of laughed to myself, like, in about 6 months we'll be looking down at each other, ready to go to war, and everything changes at that point.
In terms of what's ahead for you in the program, you have a summer trip.
Yep.
What can you tell us about that, and your thoughts on the fact that in your first season you're able to bond with the guys and take them out on a tour?
Yeah, we're very, very fortunate to have this trip planned. It was planned before I got here. And, last year when I was at Indiana, we put together a quick trip to the Bahamas. And I saw the validity in that, just in terms of the new staff, just sort of the camaraderie that was built with the team, and bonding and that sort of thing. I thought it was very advantageous for the program. And I look at that the same way here. We've got the 10 practices as we lead into it. We've also got the 4 hours a week with our guys now. So, this has kind of become a 365-day-a-year job. There's no doubt about that. But I look forward to the trip we're going to Italy and Greece, and I think we're playing 4 games. I think it'll be a very good situation for a new group. We got a lot of new guys, as well as you said, just the new staff, them getting a feel for how I coach and how we practice and those types of things.
How do you want your Butler team to play?
I want us to score more points than our opponents score. No, I think this, it's funny because when I did my press conference, I didn't give the proverbial, hey, this is how we're going to play, because I didn't know our team. I didn't know who was going to be on our team at the time. And I've always been a guy that I know how I want to play. I like to play fast. I want to play, very pressure oriented defense. But I've got to make sure that we've got the right guys to play that way. But I also, I think and I've always said this, if I'm going to recruit the best players in the country, I've got to let them play basketball. And our job is going to be to bring their skill level along the best that we can and put them in positions to be successful.
Thad Matta, as you've completed month 2 on the job, you've got a summer tour ahead and you're gearing up for the first season back at Butler. What is your message to the Hinkle Fieldhouse faithful?
Ooh, I don't know if I have a message yet. I've always been, you'll learn this about me as we continue to interact. I don't say a whole lot. I just sort of hope that my actions do the speaking for me. I think that, going out and making promises and that sort of thing is then you got to back it up. I'll just say sort of low key, but I do think this. I think Butler fans are going to be very excited when they watch our guys take the court this season.
Thad Matta, thank you so much for the time. And I'm sure I don't know if you've heard this, maybe you've never heard it, but I can't help when I look at you, but start to think of Gene Hackman and Hoosiers. And so I'm excited to see you back at Hinkle Fieldhouse here this upcoming season, because to me, it just says Butler and college basketball.
I appreciate that. And like I said, I'm excited to be here and we're going to put the work in. We're going to do the things we got to do to make a great product. That's for sure.
Thanks so much for your time, Thad.
Thank you.